Okay, I'm reporting on the activity that I did for the social class thing. I did the SNAP or the food stamps application. I didn't know this, but I went and did the part of the application that you can do online, and it asks a lot of personal questions, obviously, especially about finances, and a lot of questions that I didn't really expect to have to answer. Um, and I almost qualified, except for I get a lot of money through scholarships, and that's what disqualified me. So to qualify, you have to go to a local center and get interviewed and fill out paperwork in person. And I wasn't able to do that. I've been sick for several days, and I was planning on doing it, but didn't have the chance. But I did call and got to talk to someone, and that was an interesting experience. Um, The expectations I had for this were I kind of expected it to be kind of like the DMV being a government program where that's just how you get treated. You have a number and you just get treated as a number, and that was true to a certain extent. But what I didn't expect, well, what I wasn't ready for was even just calling on the phone, how uncomfortable I felt. Um, and I knew the person on the other end of the line probably did this all day and didn't care at all about my personal situation, but even then I felt really uncomfortable, um, especially answering questions about things that I wouldn't be comfortable answering, like my money situation or my living situation or anything of that nature. And I wasn't comfortable in this circumstance either, but those are things that typically you don't ask people or you don't talk about with people. One of my core beliefs is comes from a psychology study. It's called the 10,000 rule and 10,000 hour rule, excuse me. And there's a guy who did a study where every professional who's become truly exceptional at something, what he they found is that it takes 10,000 hours of the right kind of diligent practice, and if anyone does that, they have the potential to become great at just about anything with very few exceptions. And I really believe that, especially with school. I think any student who has the ability to put in the time could become great at anything. But that's obviously hard to do. It's not necessarily an easy thing or a cut and dry process. There are some exceptions to that with disabilities and whatnot. But this challenged that belief in the fact that I can see a student living with these circumstances that the program describes as qualifying for food assistance, and it would really not allow for the kind of time that it would take for a student to become really great if they were struggling. Not to mention other things like lack of how much help they had or support in the home. Um, and so that was interesting, and I think that's important. That'll be important for me as a teacher to recognize that. The most important thing that I learned, I feel, was that um, the program I shouldn't judge. Obviously, I know I do that more than I should as it is, but what I felt as I called on the phone and the this lady asked me questions was that shame of asking for assistance, and as I imagine myself actually in that situation, I can imagine what that would do to my self confidence and my sense of entitlement that I kind of have as a white male. I would probably carry that feeling of shame with me throughout the day, and it would probably become a very big part of my life. And that leads into the impact with my future students. I feel like I need to be very conscientious of students that could be in that circumstance and how they might feel that. Um, I feel like I will have to actively persuade students to believe that the circumstances they're born into doesn't have to determine what kind of lifestyle I have.